Yeah, I'm popping in with another one. So I want to start this one saying that when I was at a school venue, I had a cool teacher. One of the stronger experiences I had around teachers, and she said when you're doing something, trust the work, and the work is what is paramount and a priority above the fanfare and even the celebration and reception. Is the work is just if you're about something, just continue with the work, and all the other stuff can be worked out. Some people would say like shoot first, ask questions later, work first, check analytics later. But I just want to say that I'm offering this like with that spirit is just to keep the work coming. In older times, they would say devil may care. Now I'll say internet may care. That's what I wanted to come with to maybe coin internet may care is the attitude of a content creator and with like original work, internet may care. But I'm just responding to this question that appeared on one of the videos on this channel where someone said why am I here? And I was saying that I don't know like the real attitude that was intended as or the real tone, but I can imagine I've got a lot of similar like feedback like that in other venues like online offering content like that type of stance or statement. But it's not valuable. And also, if you just appreciate it, like you work with what you're given, you don't work with what you want or what you like. You work with what you're given, where you're given, so you can work with that. And therefore, so I'm at least making videos off of that, so it's value in inspiring content. But I still respect anyone engaging online and with the content. And I don't know anyone, so I can't be acting like I know more or less than anyone because I just don't know someone. But there's value in all things, including that question. If we were to look at it directly verbatim, why am I here? That's very profound on a lot of levels. But you can also switch the terms, but keep the expression and like say, what am I here, or just what am I? And you might have so why are you, where are you, how are you, when are you? Could also similar be what are you? You could maybe the meaning of any of those could inform and be intended by the meaning of any other those ways of approaching that question, those different who, what, when, where, why, and how. And you might get a lot further by interchanging them or appreciating them as one the other than fixating on one, because you fixate on one, you get more so like arbitrary, indefinite. So why are you? This is why. Now that's bogus because I just limited it by saying this. But if I say where, like as though you were a plot on a graph, like a function of a curve on a graph, and you say y, and I just take that in terms of like the y-axis. So where are you upon a y-axis? Your position on a y-axis, and that is within a function that is an algorithm, could speak to that. So why would that video appear on your feed? That could be a function of an algorithm. That is that could be appreciated in terms of an algorithm. That is a function. That is a position on a graph. Maybe graph would be more so two-dimensional, and algorithm, at least online, would be more times dimensional because you have your location would be figured into an algorithm. That's 1 degree. Your when you do something would figure into an algorithm. What you do would figure into an algorithm. When you do stuff would figure into an algorithm. So that's at least 4 dimensions right there. But then you're going deep like with like algorithms, but you could still say why a video would appear would be a function of an algorithm. That it would be a function. The reason you would choose to engage that video and click upon it would again be part of a function in your greater your decision, the function and the calculus of your decisions and your goings on, which you can't entirely dispense with the function of your decisions directly, arbitrarily, consciously, necessarily. But one way to transcend that would be to introduce different appreciation of details, I think, because if you change your awareness, you change your reality and your outcomes. I wasn't the first one to say that. I've heard something similar to that, is that what you become aware of becomes your reality. But it's still part of a function. But the only way to maybe to consciously affect the function of the calculus of your decisions and statements and choices would be to appreciate detail, because that'd be the most fundamental thing to work with that I'm aware of, would be to discipline your awareness. And a big step in that discipline would be the best way to transcend a function that I'm aware of. but within discipline, the footing would be to grasp awareness. To grasp detail. That'd be the first way of training awareness, of interceding in your present training, that is awareness. The first would be to apprehend and appreciate detail, which is actually some of the videos where about that comment appeared was on series about appreciating detail. But it's a function, and then your choices are also a function within that, but still probably a function of your awareness of detail would be your choices, but your choices are a function in themselves. So you can appreciate all that just as like a position within a graph, but it's beyond two-dimensional. Is part of like what why you would pick up something, but you can appreciate that as where. But what are you? I would say you're at least this is superficial and limited because I'm without another person, but it would be that's like outside of. So you would have you are an effect of different causes that you can be reason to have had a hand in as iterations of yourself as your ancestors in your own rendering in creation of yourself in one life, where you're maybe an ancestor of yourself. You're an ancestor of the food that you've chosen to consume, the rigors you've chosen to assume, the labors you've chosen to assume, the undertakings, the learning, the loving, the romance, the friendship, the enmity, the interest, the fear. A lot of that you're a function of your own choices and doings and consumption in an ancestor of yourself. Your cells have the food that you get, what you've put into your body has been digested and refashioned and reassimilated to itself, and is in that point not the same as it had been, but you are an inheritor of your own choices, especially around food. So you are an inheritor of the things that you've consumed, and therefore an ancestor of yourself in one life, a few times in one life, I think. So you're that, and then I would say you would be superficial, as I am, as a lot of us are, because we couldn't be otherwise in this reality that we're forced to participate in, such as the inculcating of children into the public education system, and then the workforce after that in the higher education, and maybe you could say the military and commercial and private and public sector is we're more so thrust into it and obliged. I think it was Nietzsche that said that in the morning we're thrust and obliged to participate in life. We can't really get outside of that, and it actually starts for children. I've transported young school-age children in early tiers or grade levels, and they're already somewhat jealous of their preschool or toddler siblings that have not yet been mated to being forced to go to school. They're already somewhat jealous of the free time and leisure that their infant and toddler siblings have on their hands. They themselves, as young children, not yet having attained 10 or maybe sometimes even 7 or 8 years of age, they're already feeling like that in some of this indoctrination and inculcation in the school system. So we're simply false. But we're also enjoying that and having fun within that might be our only means of being real, if anything, or transcending that. Then you would likely be Eurocentric, just because I think that the matrix is skews. One thing that it skews for, you can appreciate things in seeing the biases in what things value and lean towards. And I'm not saying that it's that people, that it's bad to be Eurocentric or to value what is European, but I would say that a lot of things online they value Eurocentrism. So I have different videos on this channel, some of them musical and artistic, but I have one video where I actually did a filter where it's black and white. And as you look at that black and white, like with some of because I actually have European ancestry, technically in technical scientific terms, I would have more European ancestry than African ancestry, because my mother is entirely European and my father is entirely African on appearance, his phenotype, but his genotype. My father also had European ancestries. There was some people that were in the region of Africa where my father was, like some influential people that were European that are part of my father's ancestry. But my physical appearance is somewhat both African and European, but it can as soon be as European if African, if not more by that reasoning. But in that video where I did the filter of black and white, you can't truly appreciate my ethnicity, I think, as you otherwise could in a regular video, just because of the fact that it's black and white with the skin tone, and that's one of the higher views on the channel. Also, I have a channel where I have blonde extensions, and that would maybe coalesce with my actual somewhat European bone structure, but I appear more so European, and that has a lot of views on it.